Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be talking about Netflix's The Stranger. So before I do head into this particular video, this is going to be a non-spoiler video. But yeah, if you have seen this show, please feel free to talk about spoilers with me down below, because I would love to talk about it with you. So, the show in question that I'm going to be talking about for this video is called The Stranger, aired on Netflix. I'm actually not quite sure if it aired in the UK first. If anybody knows that for sure, let me know if it aired in the UK first, or if it kind of aired simultaneously. I almost feel like it aired simultaneously. But yeah, I watched it through Netflix, and The Stranger, I believe it's just a one-season show. Yeah, guys, my understanding is that it's just a one-season show, essentially with a beginning, middle, and end. The way the show kind of ended, it wrapped everything up, so I don't really expect there to be a season 2, you know? I really don't know what I honestly don't know what they would explore with the season 2, so I'm assuming it's just a one-season thing. If you like that sort of thing, you know, if you like just one-and-done seasons. Plus, it was just 8 episodes, which was even better. It was just one season, 8 episodes, so yeah, like very easy to consume, essentially. So yeah, what is The Stranger about? I'm going to be reading off my notes here, you guys. The Stranger, it is actually based off of the novel by Harlan Coben, and this is the plot summary that I got off of IMDb, and the show follows the lives of suburban families whose secrets and lies are made public by the appearance of a stranger. Hence the title. Okay, so this show, you guys, don't watch the trailer for it. For God's sake, don't watch the trailer, because I initially watched the trailer and I was like, oh god, this looks kind of terrible. I was like, this looks kind of terrible and it's not really appealing to me, because for me personally, the number one draw that I was even watching this show to begin with was Richard Armitage. I freaking love Richard Armitage. So I was initially only watching for him and him only. So yeah, the trailer just was not appealing to me whatsoever. It kind of looked a little stupid and cheesy. But I'm so glad to say that the show was, to me anyway, the show was not stupid or cheesy or anything. It definitely had some more comedic moments, but yeah, for the most part it is very serious and exploring some serious topics and issues and stuff. The whole season, you guys, the whole season was so good. Like I said, it's only 8 episodes, and I feel like there was something constantly going on in all 8 episodes. You know, every scene counted and every scene mattered in some way towards the characters or towards the overall plot. Everything mattered. And it was just a fully packed season, you know, very fully packed. And yeah, full of a lot of elements, you know, full of a lot of plot elements and characters that at first don't seem to connect in any sort of way. You end episode 1, and I was kind of left at the end of episode 1 going, what? I was like, what on earth? I was like, how are all these characters, how are all these plots going to eventually tie in and connect in some way, you know? Because I was sitting there thinking, this is kind of like a suspense thriller sort of thing. You know, a small town full of a lot of characters who know each other, full of gossip. And I was thinking to myself, all of these elements have to connect at some point. It's just a matter of trying to figure out how, you know, how and why they will connect. And it's also a thing too, because I think there's also red herrings. This is the type of show that there are red herring elements that you think this plot element is part of the bigger picture, but it's actually not. So I really liked that element of it. The episodes, I think, were very intense for the most part. Every episode pretty much ended on some sort of cliffhanger, which was great because it left you wanting to watch the next episode. you know, because I would watch a couple episodes at a time, and then I'd be like, oh god, no, I need to keep going after that cliffhanger, but I need to pick up the next day, you know. So yeah, full of great cliffhangers, full of interesting characters. The characters perhaps aren't the most likable, because I think a lot of the characters are probably a little irritating and not very likable, but they're very realistic, you know. I think they're very realistic and relatable in their own ways. And yeah, I mean, the overall theme of the show, I mean, it's about secrets and lies, essentially. This mysterious woman, who we only kind of initially know as the stranger, she just pops up into these people's lives, and she just drops a bombshell on them. You know, she drops a huge bombshell that's can be absolutely devastating for that person or for their family, and then she just kind of leaves, you know, with kind of blackmailing them, like, if you don't do this, I'm going to blackmail you or whatever. And a lot of times the stranger, she's not really doing it for money. I mean, I think there are some cases she is doing it for money, but a lot of times it's not so much for money. And that's kind of the big thing with the stranger. You're trying to figure out, why is she doing these things? Why is she approaching these people and dropping off these bombshells? You know, what is her agenda, her goal? And you know, why, it's like you kind of figure out, it has to be something emotional and personal for her. Something has happened in her own life that she wishes maybe someone had come into her life and told her something, you know? So it is. It's kind of one of those shows. It's about secrets and lies, and kind of this whole notion of, are you willing to destroy your family, essentially? You know, once you get this big bombshell dropped on you, you know, are you willing to kind of destroy your family by telling your whole family, hey, I know this secret, or hey, I need you to know this about me? You know, some element that may destroy your family at the end of the day if they knew what this big secret was. Kind of a thing too, questioning, is it worth it at the end of the day? Is it worth it to know a secret about somebody? You know, if you feel suspicious about a friend or a family member, is it worth it to know the secret? Or is it preferable not to have known, you know? So it asks a lot of good questions about, you know, families and friendships and secrets and lies, and what you're willing to know and not know at the end of the day, just how it's going to affect you and your family. So yeah, just getting down into this list of characters really quickly, there's a huge cast of characters, but I wanted to just pick out the top performances. First up is Richard Armitage, who I mentioned earlier that I love Richard Armitage. I've been watching him since the BBC adaptation of Robin Hood. You guys, I freaking love Richard Armitage. He plays the character of Adam Price. A stranger comes into his life one day, and she drops this bombshell on him that, hey, you could have left your wife, you could have divorced her, because she was never pregnant that one time. She lied to you about a pregnancy she had. Because, yeah, Richard Armitage's character, he's under the impression that years ago his wife had some sort of miscarriage, but come to find out, the stranger tells him, no, that was not a miscarriage, she just wasn't pregnant to begin with. So it's his character trying to figure out, wait a minute, why did she lie to me exactly? And him, you know, him unraveling some things about himself to maybe explain why she did lie about a fake pregnancy. I loved Richard Armitage's character in this, you guys. It was nice to see him as a man who's settled down and married. He has 2 teenage sons. It's a very different role for him, because he tends to be like a bachelor in most things he's in. Or in the case of The Hobbit, he's a dwarven king. So I loved his character in this. It was nice to see him kind of branch out and do a few little different things with his acting. And yeah, his character is just really interesting as well, because yeah, he has his own little secrets and lies that he's been covering up as well. And then you have Siobhan Finneran, who plays Joanna Griffin. Siobhan Finneran, who a lot of people most likely recognize her from the first couple seasons of Downton Abbey. And her character is, she works in the police force, and she, at the very beginning of the story, there's something that doesn't personally happen to her, but it happens to a friend of hers that gets her wrapped up into this whole mystery of The Stranger, and it just really affects her character from start to finish because she's trying to unravel this terrible thing that has happened to her friend at the beginning. Yeah, Siobhan Finneran, definitely one of the highlights of this season. I loved her performance. She had a lot of really emotionally charged scenes that she had to deal with. Just great actress, you guys, such a great actress. And yeah, her character is oddly humorous and a little quirky. She was just so great. And then the other character is actor is Paul Kaye, who played another character who works in the police force, and his character is Patrick Katz. And Paul Kaye, you guys, Paul Kaye was perhaps the number one highlight of this season. I walked out of this season being the most impressed by his performance because he had a lot to deal with. There was a lot of back and forth with him, and yeah, he has his own secrets and lies. He's done some terrible things, but yeah, there's things that he's doing for like his daughter, to protect his daughter. He's a very complex character. He's kind of more of the antagonist. I wouldn't say he's a villain because he's not really a bad guy, but he's kind of turned into a bad guy. So he's kind of more of the antagonist. Yeah, I loved his performance. Such a great character. And then, yeah, The Stranger. We haven't even mentioned The Stranger. I've been talking about her by name, but yeah, played by Hannah John-Kamen. Her role is, it's a very, in some ways it's almost a small role because she pops in and out of the episodes. You know, she pops in and out of the episodes when she's needed. You don't really learn much about her. You're not given much. You don't really get a good sense of her until closer to the end of the season. And yeah, I think Hannah John-Kamen did a fantastic job with this performance because you don't know why she's doing what she's doing, why she's dropping off these bombshells, how does she get all this information, why is she going after these people and blackmailing them. Just a lot of great stuff with the character of The Stranger, and I think Hannah John-Kamen's performance was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, something I found out is that in the book, if I'm not mistaken, in the book, The Stranger is actually supposed to be a man. So the TV series adapted it and they turned it into a role for a female. So that's kind of cool. So overall, I loved this season of The Stranger, you guys. Like I mentioned, just fully packed episode after episode, full of really great twists and turns and cliffhangers. And I definitely recommend this series if you are into British dramas, especially something I wrote here in my notes, especially if you like something like Broadchurch, for instance, a Broadchurch that starred David Tennant and Olivia Colman. The Stranger is very much kind of in that similar vein, you know, taking place in a small British town, where all the characters essentially know each other. You know, everybody knows each other by name. It's that sort of thing. And so it makes it difficult to kind of to hide things from your neighbors and your friends and whatnot. And it does, the secrets that The Stranger is dropping really messes with this small community and whatnot. So yeah, if you love British television, British thrillers that take place in like a small town, I think you will really love this if that's something right up your alley. It certainly was for me. So you guys, that is it for my review of The Stranger. In the comments below, has anybody else watched this show? I feel like I'm the only person who's watched it. I've not seen anybody else talk about it online or anything. So yeah, if you watched The Stranger, if you loved it, please talk to me about it down below. So that is it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.